The November 2025 bond auction prospectus, which has already been issued, has reopened two bond papers, that is FXD1 2012-20 and FXD1 2022-15. Our efforts to pack our bond review videos with value, we always begin by the naming structure of our bond paper. And the name of a bond has three parts. There is the first part, the middle part, and the last part to the right. The first part, in this case FXD, gives us the type of bond on issue. We have three types of bonds. We have the fixed coupon bonds abbreviated as FXDs. That is what we have today, an FXD. Then the second type of a bond is an infrastructure bond abbreviated as IFB. And the third type of a bond is a savings development bond abbreviated as SDB. The middle part will always give us the year when the bond was originally issued or first issued. The two FXD bonds were originally issued in 2012 and 2022 respectively, and the last part of the name of a bond gives us the original maturity of the paper on its first issue. So the 20 years for the FXD1 2012-20 or the 15 years for the FXD1 2022-15, those were the original maturities for these instruments. One characteristics of bonds being long-term borrowing instruments by the government in to save on cost of reproducing the same papers, these instruments get reopened for new investments during their lifetime. And therefore, today, and therefore, in our November 2025 bond auction, these two papers have been reopened and the new investors invest for the remaining lifetime of the paper. And therefore, the FXD1 2012-20 is giving us an investment period of 7 years, while the FXD1 2022-15 is giving us an investment period of 11.4 years, which are the remaining 10 years of these two papers. Bond investing, an investor will be guided by their personal investment policy statements. And some of the important items that you'll get in PIPs, one would be the tenure, which is the maturity period or the period of time for which this investor will give away their capital to be used by another person in the case of a borrowing instrument like a bond, after which they will be paid back. The second important attribute is the coupon, where simply coupon is a technical term that refers to the interest that we get paid from bond investing. The coupon rate is very important because as an investor, there should be the minimum acceptable rate of return as per your investment statement. And that is what you refer to before choosing where to put your money. And in the case of bond investment, if the rate of return, which is the coupon, does not match what is in your personal investment statement, then that is a factor to consider in rejecting that paper. The third property in bond investment will be the coupon payment months. And this becomes very important because majority of investors in bond investments, they use them as instruments to plan their income distribution. And one was investing or building what we call a bond ladder, targeting that system of laddering to pay out a return that goes to finance their lifestyle or their monthly expenses. Then the specific months where the bond coupon shall be paid out become very important because for an investor can choose to ladder their bonds to get a monthly income. An investor can choose to ladder their bonds for a quarterly income. Other investors would be looking for a ladder that pays only a semi-annual income, while we have other investors or ladder their bonds to receive incomes on a specific month, which we will call it an annual income. So whichever way, the two specific months which pay out the coupon from your bond investment become very important. The fourth property is your risk attitude. And bond investments or government papers pose the lowest form of risk exposures in investment, and therefore bonds do favor investors of low risk appetite or circumstances that require such low risk exposures. The fifth attribute is liquidity. These type of investments are not the ones that you turn to when you need emergency cash. These instruments or these investments take time to liquidate in the secondary market because what you intend to dispose may not match what other parties are looking to purchase, and also that the secondary market where bonds are traded are managed by intermediaries or are brokers. And for you to be able to dispose of your paper, if you purchased it as a DIY, then you need the service of a broker to liquidate that paper, and it may take time unless you want to dispose that investment at a considerable loss. The last attribute will be security, and in this case, we are looking at the potential loss due to external factors. And bonds being non-physical investments, they don't attract a lot of external influence, and another case are accepted as collateral in banks, circles, and other financial institutions in case you need some quick cash and you don't want to go through the tedious process of waiting in the secondary market. We shall be looking at the full details of the November 2025 bond auction, looking at the specific characteristics of the two papers in 3 seconds, in a 3 seconds short break. So don't go away. In the meantime, if you are new to the channel, give us a like and subscribe for more content of this nature. Welcome back, and this schedule is giving us the bond specific features for the two papers, that is the FXD1 2012-20 and FXD1 2022-15. Those are the two bonds that are on the November 2025 bond auction. The coupons for the two papers is 12% for the FXD1 2012 and 13.9420 for the FXD1 2022-15. These two papers have original maturities that are above 10 years, and for that reason, the return on these papers are taxable at a withholding rate of 10%, which is giving us a 1.2% for the FXD1 2012-20, leaving us with a net coupon of 10.8%. For the FXD1 2022-15, the 10% of 13.9420 will give us a tax rate at 1.3942%, leaving us with a net coupon of 12.5478%. As we had indicated earlier, the coupon rate, which is the rate of return on this investment, becomes very vital when compared with our personal investment policy statements. And therefore, if a 10.8% for the first paper is below your minimum acceptable return, then that becomes one of the factors to look at. The 10-year or the remaining horizon for these two papers into which new investors will be investing, it is 7 years for the shorter paper and 11.4 years for the longer papers, that is FXD1 2022-15. And therefore, FXD1 2012-20 is giving us an opportunity for a medium-term investment plan, while the longer paper of 11.4 years of horizon, that is a long-term investment opportunity for those who consider the 12.5478% to be a return acceptable within their personal investment policy statements. Maturity period or the redemption dates for these two papers is 1st November 2032 for the FXD1 2012-20 and 6th April 2037 for the FXD1 2022-15. That points to the important months relating to these two papers, where the coupon for the shorter paper will be paid out in the months of May and November, while the longer paper will be paying us coupons in the month of April and October. And those periods are very important for those who are seeking for papers for income distribution or laddering purposes. Accrued interest, which is the interest that has been generated so far on this paper up to the settlement date. The first paper, FXD1 2012-20, has zero accrued interest. And what it means is that the settlement date for November 2025 bond auction, which is the last day for paying of our successful bids, coincides with the coupon payment date. And for that reason, then the paper has zero accrued interest. The accrued interest for the FXD1 2022-15 is 0.8043 for every 100. The next coupon date for the two papers is 11th of May 2026 for the FXD1 2012-20 and 20th of April 2026 for the FXD1 2022-15. The government is issuing these two papers targeting to receive 40 billion Kenya shillings for budgetary support, and the minimum amount that you require for this opportunity is 50,000 Kenya shillings for a non-competitive bid. Our second schedule is giving us the important dates for this auction, where the selling period, the period within which you are supposed to ensure you have placed your bid, that is 23rd of October 2025, closing on 5th November 2025, 10 o'clock. The bid closure is the last date of the bidding period. The bidding period closes at 10 in the morning, and the auction begins immediately after that, and therefore the bid closure becomes 5th 11th 2025, and it will always be on a Wednesday. The auction takes place on the same day. Immediately the bidding period closes, it opens the auction, and that will still be on Wednesday of 5th November 2025. The results are collected from the closure of the auction, which is on 5th all the way to 7th November 2025, which will always be on a Friday. Then you are given that period after you have received your payment details, the payment key, and the cash value to pay. You are supposed to ensure that you pay or RTGS that payment on or before the settlement day, that is on Monday, 10th November 2025. How will the numbers look like for an investment of 1 million shillings in either of the two papers? Bound by this schedule, if you invest 1 million in the FXD1 2012-20, for a tenure of 7 years and at a net coupon of 10.8%, the coupon amount will be 108,000, which is payable two times in a year at 50%, where the first amount is paid in May, the other amount will be paid in November, and to term, or for the investment period of 7 years, you will receive a total coupon of 756,000. The longer paper FXD1 2022-15, investing for 11.5, changing from 11.4 years, we are using 11.5 in this case for purposes of our calculation, because that figure does give us the number of times your coupon shall be paid out, and this will include 11 years and 6 months for the last payout. At 12.5478 net coupon, you are receiving a coupon total of 125,478, half in April and the other half in October, giving you a total of 1,442,997 shillings for the 11.4 years of investment. And those were the specific details relating to the November 2025 bond auction. Thank you for watching and see you in our next video.